What's up, everybody? A Ward here, and I'm here to let you know that the A Ward Show is now officially brought to you by the Ripple to Wave Foundation, where they're manifesting waves of impact, one ripple at a time. Ripple to Wave empowers volunteers to create real change, from mentoring youth and protecting the environment to supporting those people in need. That includes seniors, veterans, and even animals. Yes, even animals. Every project is a chance to make your ripple in the community, and together, those ripples form waves of impact. The team at Ripple to Wave stays active with projects and events just about every weekend, and they're growing fast. Their Albuquerque, New Mexico team just launched their first project, and they're only getting started since their official launch on June 2nd of 2025. Get involved, volunteer, and learn more at rippletowavefoundation.org. That's Ripple, the number 2, wavefoundation.org. Follow them on all their socials at Ripple, the number 2, Wave Foundation on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to them on YouTube. Together, let's make some waves. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the A Ward Show. I'm your host and curator and engineer and videographer. I am all the things. I am A Ward, and I thank you for tuning in to another episode of the A Ward Show. Make sure you guys hit that link tree. Follow me on all my socials, man. Instagram, TikTok. I be communicating back to the people, to the streets. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, share, tell a friend to tell their mama, their grandmama, their cousins and them to pull up on the A Ward Show. Make sure you guys follow my partners, man. Ripple to Wave, A Dot, who does the intro, Lost Perception. When I do the What You Heard Wednesdays, I got a What You Heard coming up. Got a lot of new music that just dropped, so I'll be doing a few reviews over the next few weeks, and definitely looking forward to listening to some of these albums and checking them out. So make sure you guys follow all my homeboys that be doing their thing. Make sure you guys follow Stirring the Pot for all of you that were able to watch last week's episode. Super dope guys down in Texas. Love their podcast. And they were gracious enough to let me be a fly on the wall during their podcast and sit there and talk with them, talk some sports, talk the Super Bowl. Made my prediction last week on that show. So if you haven't went and checked that out, go check that out. It's on my page. It's also on their page, on their YouTube page. And you guys can follow them. They're heavy on TikTok. So if you guys have TikTok, it's at Stirring the Pot 936. Go check them out. Wolf, Cole, Jay, Buddha, Zach, man, great brothers down there. And had a really great time chopping it up with them. But you're not here to just hear me talk about nonsense. Well, I guess you are. I guess so. You are here to we got to talk about the game, man, the big game, the Super Bowl. And so let's get into it. Where I'm gonna talk about some sports, and I probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This is Yo No Say Nada. All right, here we go. So obviously this past weekend, what's today? Today's the 9th. I'm shooting this on a Monday, the day after Super Bowl, which I'm going to say something. So yesterday was the 8th. It was the Super Bowl. And I think the Monday after Super Bowl should be a national holiday. Because now depending on where you live, like the game was fairly early out here in Arizona. Started at, I think, 4:30, somewhere around there. And then if you're on the West Coast, started at 3:30. But there's so much going on, right? For most people, parties, gatherings, get-togethers. Maybe you're out, maybe you're at the bar, maybe you're, at your local pub or whatever. And, you're getting down, man. You're having some good food, having some beers, having some drinks, seltzers, whatever, cocktails, whatever. And, if you're a fan of one of the two teams that are actually in the Super Bowl, it's emotional. There's a lot going on, and depending on the outcome, depends on how your next day may be. And you don't want to be in trouble for calling out the next day. So I think it should be Monday after Super Bowl should be a national holiday. Has to be. Has to be. We got to figure this out. I mean, maybe you need to get a petition, something. We got to figure it out. But let's get into the Super Bowl. Obviously we had the Seahawks versus the Patriots, and two of the best teams that played this season. Now, there was a lot of talk about the New England Patriots and who they played during the regular season. And then some of the offenses they had to go against, obviously, in the postseason. And so for that reason, there were a lot of people who were picking the Seahawks this game. But then I started to see a kind of a shift during the week leading up to the Super Bowl, where a lot of people did start picking the Patriots. And a lot of it, I think, had to do with now Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel. And they just felt like, there's something about being the underdog. And I'm not going to lie to you. As it got closer and closer, I'm thinking to myself, man, I don't know. There is something about being the underdog. And although it's a different team now, we judge teams off their history, even if they have totally different players. And Mike Vrabel was part of that, those championship teams, some of those championship teams for the Patriots. Obviously, Josh McDaniels was part of that coaching. And so there was it did feel a little bit like, hey, they might have a real chance. And if, no matter what, you're in the big game, you're going to have a chance for sure. But I had predicted before the Super Bowl, the score was going to be Seattle 35-16. When I talked with Stirring the Pot, Jay and Buddha had it the closest. Jay had, I think, 28-13, and Buddha had 27-13. And so great predictions by them. Now, the way this game went down, I don't know if everybody expected it to go exactly this way. 15-point score by Seattle by the kicker. Like, it was field goal city. And it was defense on top of defense on top of defense. And, for me personally, I'm a football guy. I like football, love football. And so the fact that it was a defensive battle, and look, New England's defense has just gotten better and better and better and better as the season has progressed. They played kind of a bend but don't break type of defense. And so, yeah, they gave up some big yards, especially to K9, Kenneth Walker, walk him down, Walker. But he didn't get into the end zone. Now, he almost did on a play, and it was a holding call, and it got called back. And that would have super sealed the deal, even though it was pretty much sealed at that point. But they didn't get, he wasn't able to get in the end zone. Darnold didn't get, he didn't throw a touchdown until later in the game. I mean, Myers was pretty much probably, should have at least been talked about for the MVP. But he was pretty much the guy that was controlling this game. And, New England did what they were supposed to do. Hey, keep him out of the end zone and force him to either punt or kick the field goal, and they did for most of this game. Now, the other side of that was Seattle said, you ain't doing nothing. Like, they came to play. And what a lot of people did predict was that Seattle's defense was going to be great. Now, the question was, hey, man, New England's seen the boogeyman before, right? Chargers defense really good. Texans defense really good. Broncos defense really good. And so there was sort of this feeling of like, well, shoot, they got through all three of these guys. They just got to do it one more time. And Seattle was like, man, but we ain't them. That's how I felt. This game felt way more dominant than the score was at halftime. Like, it felt like Seattle was dominating. And they just could not put the ball in the end zone. Now, I will say this, and I thought this was going to happen. With Clint Kubiak going to the Las Vegas Raiders, I kind of felt like he was going to call a game, especially the biggest game of the year, trying to make Sam Darnold the hero at moments. And Darnold played okay. Not great, not terrible. He had some throws that were, man, could have been turnovers at points in this game. They weren't. And, you know, stats were okay. They, you know, like I said, not great, but not terrible. But it felt like the offense would get going and then Clint would call something to kind of showcase how good Sam is. And it just, New England was ready for it. They were ready. Now, JSN had something going on during this game. Not a full-on injury, but was definitely hobbled, got hobbled early in the game and wasn't 100%. I mean, I guess you could say that about anybody in the Super Bowl. It's the end of the year. You know, guys are banged up from the regular season, from the postseason, those extra games. Tough games to be in. And so nobody's really 100%, but he got a little, dinged up early in the game and was kind of in and out. And it wasn't a huge factor in this game. It was not a huge factor in this game. Now, K9 was, but then he wasn't. It was like they get him going, and then they wouldn't. And then they get him going, and then they wouldn't. Now, New England's defense, again, credit to them. They adjusted a lot of times during this game. And, when Kenneth would get going, when K9 would get going, they would stop him a couple times, short yards, negative yards or 1 or 2 yard gains, nothing crazy. But I did feel like Clint Kubiak should have attacked the run a lot more because that was really working for the most part. And it felt like in moments, like I said, he was really, really trying to make Sam Darnold the hero. And a lot of coaches do this. So I don't know, he's going to be down in Vegas. They won, so it doesn't matter. And I guess what's the takeaway from this Super Bowl? What is the takeaway? Is this memorable? Is it a forgettable Super Bowl? I was in a group chat with some of the other coaches that I coached with, and they were like, man, I'm not feeling this Super Bowl, man. I was like, man, it's a defensive battle. Quit the whining. You out here BBCC. Pause. Do whinings. And that was crazy. And I don't think anybody thought it was going to be a shootout. Now, I think the thing was Seattle just couldn't get in the end zone. Like, they had so many opportunities early, like throughout this game. Red zone opportunities. And just, but hey, Myers came in and he delivered. The kicker did what the kicker was supposed to do. 1,000%. So for me, obviously, I think the storylines of Sam Darnold, being left for dead in the NFL, pretty much talked about as, possibly a bust. And then having the season that he had in Minnesota last year, a lot of people jumped on the Sam Darnold train this year because he did it for another season. But hindsight 2020, there were a ton of people. Now, I'm a USC guy, as y'all know. So I'm riding for my Trojan homeboys, man. And I always thought Sam Darnold never got a real shot. The Jets are the Jets. The Panthers are getting there, but when, him and Baker were there, it was definitely they were the Panthers at that time. He goes to San Francisco, learns the Kyle Shanahan system, goes to Minnesota. JJ gets hurt, has the opportunity, and balls out. And had 2 bad games at the end of the season where they just locked in on him. And we've known Sam Darnold to see some ghosts, but most quarterbacks do. You get enough pressure. You're going to see ghosts. It happens. Like I said, unless you're the elite of the elite, Patrick Mahomes, or the great of the great, the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, the Joe Burrows, and even they see ghosts from time to time. I've seen Joe Burrow a couple of times this past season see ghosts. But a lot of people were not on the Sam Darnold train, even when he signed with Seattle, and a lot of people still doubted because they felt like, of course, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, great weapons in Minnesota, and they got a lot of credit for his success, as well they should have, because they're great players. But a lot of people were like, man, who do you have? They just shipped DK. And nobody really saw this coming from JSN. A few people, but most people did not think that was the caliber weapon that he had in Minnesota. So most people did not think they were going to be this successful. And plays well again through most of the season, has a terrible game against the Rams the first time they played them. Had an opportunity to win that game. They lose that game. They go down and play the Rams again in a fantastic game towards the end of the season. And that one's for the seeding. That one was for, you might be the 5 seed, you might be the 1 seed. And he has a bad game, 4 turnovers, and at the end of that game, it's like, okay, I know I turned the ball over, but we really got to get this number 1 seed. Go to overtime, win the game. And I feel like from there, his confidence built up. You saw him stay in the pocket more, even during this game, during the Super Bowl. He didn't flee as much. Probably should have a little bit more. Probably should have had a little bit more wiggle. Got out there and got loose, but he got hit. They were pressuring him, and he stayed in there and delivered. And not as great as he did at the end of that Rams game, but he did enough. He did enough to win the game and didn't turn the ball over. And so at the end of the day, whether he was the main factor or not in winning this Super Bowl, he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And kudos to Sam Darnold, because no matter what happens for the rest of his career, they can never take that away from him. He delivered Seattle a Super Bowl in his first year, and he was a large reason for their success this season. So shout out to Sam Darnold. Now on the other side, Drake May had a bad game. He had some moments. And, obviously they ended up scoring 2 touchdowns that he threw. And like I said, Seattle was, man, on that ass like a dirty diaper, man. They were pressuring him all night, and the offense couldn't get going. And it did feel like, okay, yeah, Drake May's young. Like the experience wasn't there. And he just needs more time to be able to understand these NFL defenses a little bit better. Had some costly turnovers, which he's had throughout the postseason. And that was really the deciding factor in this game as far as just putting the nail in the coffin, so to speak. So now the MVP, let's talk about the MVP, because from what I saw today on, the sports channels, the ESPNs, the Fox Sports, even the NFL channel, a lot of people had a lot to say about this. Should K9 have been the MVP? He didn't actually score a touchdown. Should they have given it to Myers, who, like I said, accounted for 15 points for the Seahawks? Should it have gone to somebody on the defense? I personally think it should have gone to somebody on the defense, because when I think of the Super Bowl MVP, it's like, what was the story to the game? What was the deciding factor? And as much as Myers, from a score perspective, points perspective, was a big reason why they won the game. If you watch it, and if you watch it, if you go back and watch it, the reason they won was because of that defense. No doubt about it. And so, who would you have picked to be an MVP? I'll leave that up to you guys. Shout out to Uchenna Nwosu, man, another Trojan. Shout out to Leonard Williams, another Trojan. And shout out to Brandon Peely, another Trojan. All on the Seahawks. The homies was at it, man. Coach was at it, man. How you gonna pick the Seahawks? I said, man, Trojans, man. I'm picking USC, man. That's it. I don't want to hear nothing else. So I'm not mad at Kenneth Walker getting it, because he had a $160 in this game. Like I said, should have scored a touchdown. The holding call was And speaking of the penalties, I will say, there was the scuffle with Stephon Diggs. Something probably should have been called there, against the Seahawks for the late hit. But they were letting them play, man. I'm sorry. I'm watching the Super Bowl. I don't need the refs to be a part of the game. I don't need them to be the reason why or why not. And I felt like they did a good job of just letting these guys play. Even when the thing happened with Stephon Diggs and, whatever, they were, hey, separate everybody. Let's get back to the game. Should there have been a flag on Seattle? Yeah, probably. But they had decided, don't be the reason. That they were not going to be the reason, and they let them play. And I appreciate that. I really do. Get your ass out the way if you're a referee. Don't be calling no bullshit. So for the most part of this game, they did a good job of just letting them play, calling a couple when they needed to. But, back to the MVP conversation, like I said, you had a $160. You had to give it to somebody. You probably weren't going to give it to Darnold because he didn't wow anybody with the way he played during this game. And so it did feel like, okay, well, we can't give it to the quarterback who we really want to give it to. And we can't give it to the whole defense. There's never been a kicker to win it. Get the running back. He was good. He was solid. And He put them in great positions in order to be able to score. He made some big plays. Rashid Shaheed almost went off in this game. Rashid Shaheed had moments, man. Like if he catches the deep ball from Darnold, Darnold might be the MVP of this game if he hits him on. Great defensive play by the Patriots, by the way. Great defensive play. Little bit underthrown, but great defensive play. If he hits Rashid Shaheed on that 9, on that go, up the middle, man, he's walking into the end zone. And we might be having a different conversation about the MVP. Now, everybody wants to talk about the halftime show. So much controversy for no goddamn reason. Because as a nation, we want to be split about everything. We got to pick a side. Pick a side. Oh, you like that? Well, you can't like this. Or you with that? Well, you can't be with this. Shut your ass up. Pick a side. We don't want no Spanish. We don't want no Spanish. Shut your ass up. This isn't American. Shut your ass up. First of all, the NFL is in a business. They are a business. Business. And they have said they are trying to go global. They're adding more international games. I think they're working towards at least one international game every week for at least most of the season. I think probably up until the last 2 weeks. And not sure if they're looking to expand. I know there's been some rumors here and there, but nothing really confirmed. But if they do, I mean, I could see them trying to get an international team. And so they're in the business of trying to bring the international eyes to this sport. And, you know, not everybody's going to like the Super Bowl performer. Going back to years ago, it is what it is. But I thought the show was dope, even though I didn't understand what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? I had to go to the social media streets to see what was actually going on. I don't really listen to Bad Bunny like that. Probably heard a couple of songs, just, you know, kids being around, all that. But I thought the show was dope. I thought aesthetically it was dope when he climbed up the thing. No harness, man. I'm like, man, don't fall, man. Don't fall. And so, and it was a big production. And I thought it was good. I thought it was solid, personally. Like I said, I don't really listen to Bad Bunny like that. But, you know, not everything is for everybody, and it's okay. Just say, hey, man, I never really listen to his music. It's not something that I really rock with. Instead of all this extra shit. You on that side, you can't come on this side. Shut your ass up. Shut up. We got way more shit in common. This is sports, man. This is what it's all about. It's bringing all this shit together. No matter how we look, no matter how we feel. This is what the hell it's all about. And if you just want to pick an argument to have an argument about the goddamn halftime show just because somebody speaks Spanish, because it could have been somebody that did the whole show in English, and y'all motherfuckers have still been mad. People would have still been mad. Because I don't shut your ass up. Shut up. So I don't know what the real life reaction was. Let me know in the comments section below. But all this divisive shit over shit we don't need to be arguing about is ridiculous. Commercials, you know the commercials were dope. It was fire. It was good. It was a good time. You know, what was your favorite? Obviously, the Coca-Cola commercial was funny with the bear picking the Pepsi. I guess Pepsi commercial, but they had the Coke and the Pepsi, and he picked the Pepsi. The Lay's commercial with the farmers, man, had all the ladies. Oh man, had them in a chokehold. Had them in a chokehold. You know, Super Bowl. Now I will say this, man, they be turning them damn commercials up too goddamn loud. They be killing me. They'll be like, man, right, we'll be right back after these messages. Oh, no. Hold on. Wasn't ready for that. You sitting there having a conversation. Man, this is a good ass Super, man. The defense playing real good. And you just got to start yelling. Sound like the club. You got to start yelling. It get loud as hell during the commercials, man. Trying to grab the attention of the people, I guess, you know. So now, when we did when I was a guest on Stirring the Pot, we had my man Wolf had a list of Super Bowl snacks, and we had to pick 3 and let the rest go. And we picked sliders, dips, and wings. You had to have a wing. Shout out to Cole. You have to add the wings. So I want to know from you guys, what is your perfect Super Bowl spread? Now for me, and it's on my TikTok page. Hit the link tree. Go hit my TikTok page. It's on there. Shout out to Mrs. Ward. She made stuffed mushrooms. She made stuffed jalapeno poppers. Crazy work. She made the spinach and artichoke dip, and she made the little smokies. Call them pig candy, little smokies. I ain't do shit. I made Costco has these rib portions pre-cut. So he cut them down in like bite size, like they like just little riblets. Delicious. So I had the blackberry Cajun. Riblets, fire. I had the pineapple jalapeno riblets, fire. Had to go garlic parm on the wings. And then we did like a honey hot red chili wing as well. So you guys can run over to the TikTok page. It's all there, man. I'm telling you, man, the spread was crazy. Man. I was like, yo, I had to let the streets know. This is how we do it over here. You know what I'm saying? This is how we do it, man. We got the stuffed mushrooms. We got the wing. I secured the wings. All homemade sauces. All the sauces homemade. I don't go to the store for that. I make my own. Make my own sauces, man. Fire. Yeah, I'm patting myself on the back. Say something. I don't give a shit. So overall, dope Super Bowl. Dope. I liked it. I thought it was solid. Now, do we think Drake May is going to get back there? I think so. He's young, second year. Not guaranteed, though. Do we think Seattle's going to get back there? I mean, that division's tough. Now, I do want to quickly talk about some of the hires that happened over the last couple of weeks because I haven't been able to talk about it. And I think the 2 best hires just happened. I think Mike LaFleur going to Arizona. Could be wrong. Nothing is for sure. But I think Mike LaFleur, if they give him the tools that he needs, I think Mike LaFleur going to Arizona was a huge decision by them. by both of them. I think them hiring Michael Floor is going to be great for them down the road. Now, it remains to be seen what's going to happen with Kyler Murray. We'll see. There's some chatter. He'll get in the building. He'll assess everything. We shall see. And I think Clint Kubiak to the Raiders, a great hire. I think fantastic hire. Everybody kind of knew it was coming. The chatter had been there for some weeks now. And that's why you didn't really hear anything about the Raiders, because I think they knew. They were just like, this guy has to go win a Super Bowl. So, and now they get the Raiders get a Super Bowl winning coach, which is, there's something to that. When you've been there, even though as a coordinator, when you've been there, it means a little something. Not everything, a little something. So, obviously, we think that they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza. They still have a bunch of draft capital. We'll see what they do with Max Crosby. There's been talks back and forth about that. So they trade him, try to get some draft capital for him. We'll see. But I think the two of the best hires, Michael Floor, Clint Kubiak, young guys that you can say, hey, man, we're going to give you a shot to succeed. We're going to give you a chance, few years, 5 years, to get your roster, the roster that you want to put together, along with, the respective GMs of those teams. And if you fail, you're going to fail with all the tools provided to you. And as long as they do that for them, same thing with Robert Saleh, I think, in Tennessee. I think we've seen this year, you got to give these guys the chance to really get through their turn. Sometimes you can see it like, Aaron Glenn, I thought was going to be a lot better, but when you're your defensive guy and your defense don't get an interception for the whole season, it's crazy. Crazy. But, I do think Michael Floor, Clint Kubiak should get at least 5 years to get through this thing. Even if there's a bad couple of years. Bunch of talent on both teams too. Bunch of talent. Bunch of good young talent. Good young skill guys on both the Raiders and the Cardinals. So excited for that. Excited for those, those two teams. I think now they're in some tough ass divisions. The Chargers got way better with Mike McDaniel as their OC. So we'll see how the Raiders fare in that division. And obviously the NFC West was the NFC West. We'll see how they turn all this around next season. The Rams with Matt Stafford coming back. Seattle with the Super Bowl under its belt. The Niners being the Niners and Kyle Shanahan being who he is. And now new coach Michael Floor for the Cardinals. So we shall see. Really short one today, guys. I mean, Super Bowl's done. Football season is done. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Baseball season is about to start. So we will be getting into all of that. We'll be getting into my Dodgers, the Doyers, Los Doyers. Even though I'm not going to go to the spring training. Not there. Cause they be charged an arm and a leg, go to damn Dodgers spring training facility, man. I'll go see him at somebody else's spring training stadium. I'll go see him play the Reds or something. So if you guys aren't from Arizona and you guys get a little time during the spring, I think the games are going to start pretty soon here. I think next week or maybe this week, next week. Over the next few weeks, if you guys have some time to get out to AZ, man, some great, man, spring training out here, man, is great. It's great. I know Florida has it too, but it's dope, man. It's dope to be able to go to the games. There's not a bad seat in any one of these stadiums. You can get a lawn seat. You can get a stadium seat. You can buy lawn seats and just walk around. All the players are super, super, super close. They normally sign stuff for the kids and for the people. A lot of the outfielders will throw the balls to the kids in the stands and the lawns. So it's dope. It's a good ass time. So we'll be getting into all that. We'll be getting into the baseball. We'll start talking draft coming up real soon here. Where do we think people are going to go? You know, what's going to be, you know, do we have another Shedeur Sanders type situation where somebody drops that was expected to go high? We'll get into all that. Make sure you guys tune in to What You Heard Wednesdays. I will turn the TV off Fridays up pretty soon here, where we're going to talk movies, games, all that good stuff. Yes, I'm moving my hands. I don't give a shit. Somebody was like, why you got to move your hands like that? Shut your ass up. Because I want to. How about that? Yeah, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning into another week of the A Ward Show. You don't say not a section where I talk about sports and I probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Make sure you guys hit the link tree. Hit up my socials. Make sure you guys follow all the homies. It's all there in the description. Make sure you guys shoot over and follow Stirring the Pot at Stirring the Pot 936. You can find them on YouTube under that tag, and on TikTok under that tag. I believe they're on Facebook and stuff. But run over to their TikTok. Run over to the YouTube. Check them out. They are super, super dope. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, share, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their cousins, their mama, their grandmama, you know. Pull up on the A Ward Show. If you cannot watch this and you just want to listen, I'm on all of the audio podcast sharing platforms, iHeart, Apple, Spotify, you name it. So run over there, go listen to the sultry sounds of A Ward. I appreciate you guys. You guys have a great week. Have a fantastic week. And I'll see you, John, turkeys, next week.